For hundreds of years, thousands of people have reported seeing so-called shadow people. In every corner of the world, people have had encounters with entities which resemble shadows that lurk in the corners of your home. It may sound like a fantasy and something out of a movie. However, every day these beings are reported and hundreds of thousands of people are adamant about what they witnessed. Some of these shadow people are simply visitors, while others claim to have seen a much more malevolent entity. A very tall, featureless man with a hat and a trench coat. Many believe that the Hatman appears just before tragedy, either as a warning or as a cause. The Hatman is believed to appear while an individual is in bed and suffering from sleep paralysis. The sufferers report being in bed, unable to move, while the entity slowly moves towards them. Paralyzed, the unfortunate individual can only lay there and wait for the entity to leave. Some witnesses have even reported being choked and smothered. The scientific world is aware of this, and most believe that the Hatman is just a figment of people's imagination. What's more shocking is that it's even mentioned on the British National Health Service website. However, there are several unanswered questions which contradict the scientific explanation, and for many of the sufferers, they believe that the Hatman is a spiritual or physical entity, and they state with certainty that what they saw was not a figment of their imagination. Even more compelling is that the Hatman has been witnessed in broad daylight by more than one witness at a time. The following is one of the thousands of encounter stories people have had with the shadow people and the Hatman. The year was 1991, and Jeff was around 9 years old at the time. Jeff grew up on the east coast of Canada and enjoyed hanging out with his friends. One afternoon, Jeff and his friends were in his basement, playing video games, talking about girls and school, when suddenly his friend fell silent while staring at a corner of the basement. Jeff looked at the direction as to where his friend was looking, and witnessed a semi-transparent dark figure of a man. The light bent around the entity and created a glowing outline. The entity slowly hovered towards them, and suddenly, with a flash of light, the entity disappeared. They looked at each other and screamed while running upstairs with tears in their eyes. To this day, the sighting is still difficult for him to talk about and still makes him feel uncomfortable. The Hatman is said to stand in the corners of rooms and hallways, watching, hidden in the shadows. However, there are also times when the entity has been caught on camera. In this image of three friends, you can clearly see the outline of a tall individual with a hat. All women have stated that they were alone when they took the picture and had no idea that someone or something was stood behind them. Tragically, just 3 days after this photograph was taken, the woman on the left died. If you look closely, it seems as though the entity has its hand on her shoulder. This image was taken in a restaurant in the US. For years, the staff of the restaurant have reported disturbances like footsteps and things disappearing and reappearing in different locations. One evening, one of the employees got out his smartphone and took dozens of pictures in a hope to capture the entity, and this is what he caught. The following photograph was taken on board the Queen Mary in 2008. The Queen Mary is no stranger to paranormal occurrences, and for years, many of the passengers and crew reported seeing a tall shadow figure in the cabins at night, watching them as they tried to sleep. Many people who have witnessed the Hatman state that he will often stand in the entrance of their bedroom door and watch them. It has also been known to open bedroom doors and move various objects in the room. Thus, Sleep paralysis is perhaps not always a solid explanation of what is happening. So what does Hatman want? Many explanations exist about what shadow people are and why humans can see them, and the Hatman may have a similar explanation. Perhaps he is an interdimensional being visiting humans from another dimension, and is only partially visible since his frequency is different than ours. He could also be an astral projection, the shadow of someone who has left their human body and have something unfinished. There have also been links between the Hatman and the Men in Black, as several witnesses claim to have had a visitation from the Hatman after a UFO or alien encounter, and believe that the Hatman is another worldly visitor using his advanced technology to threaten his victims, while others believe he is a demon. How is it that all different types of people from all over the world witness this same entity? There are two possibilities for the explanation of Hatman. One is that Hatman is a hallucination or an illusion that is created in the brain, and all that people are witnessing is just in their heads. Another possibility is that the Hatman is a real entity that stalks people and is in the shadows right now watching. So, what do you think? Have you or a friend had an encounter with a Hatman or a shadow person? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.